welcome to American Stories. I'm Saida Pagan. Accepting ourselves for who we are with all of our imperfections is something that we must learn to do in order to lead happy lives. But for many young people who want desperately to fit in with their peers, that road to self-acceptance can be long and lonely. I was recently in conversation with former Hollywood writer and production coordinator Linda Folsom, who's developed a deep understanding of the human experience. And she's sharing some of that knowledge with all of us in a new young adult novel titled A Way with Words. Hello and welcome to American Stories. I'm Saida Pagan. Today we're in conversation with Linda Folsom, the author of a new young adult novel titled A Way with Words. She is here to tell us about her book, and so welcome, Linda.
Thank you so much, Saida. It's my pleasure to be here.
You know, that's an intriguing title, A Way with Words. It's not a way with words, but a way with words. So tell us about this novel.
The novel is about a boy named Charlie who has issues he's dealing with. And I selected dyslexia as his issue because I think it doesn't get enough attention. And so many people are plagued with it. But it is a stand-in for so many issues that adolescents deal with. I've heard from people who said their issues were weight, stuttering. My issue was that I was actually legally blind. So I had really thick Coke bottle glasses and was teased ruthlessly. So everybody has some issue, some that are more visible than others. So his dyslexia is a placeholder for many, many issues that any kids might have. And I show how he's challenged by his dyslexia, how he is forced to open up to people about it and reveal his vulnerabilities. And by doing so, he learns things that he wouldn't have otherwise learned, and he establishes relationships he wouldn't have otherwise been able to establish.
Now, the book is labeled, in the young adult genre, but really it's for anybody, correct?
Absolutely. That's what I've heard from so many adult readers, that it brought them back to that time, reminded them of what the challenges were, and it really made them appreciate where they are now. But it touched people because that time of adolescence, it stays with you because it's a time when you are learning so much and changing so much and where everything is new.
Did you at any point know of anyone with that particular disorder, dyslexia?
I worked with a woman whose son was dyslexic, and I heard some of the things that she was dealing with him, but it's not based on him. It's just, I wanted to feature that because I just didn't see it as being given much exposure, as I said.
Yes. Now, Linda, you have a whole other career as a Hollywood producer, production coordinator. You worked with Disney for many years. Tell us about that part of your life.
Well, in the beginning, I graduated from film school at UCLA and made my way into first television, where I worked on some series like Dynasty, some series that people don't know so well, such as Finders of Lost Loves. My very first show was 240 Robert, which takes us way back. Then I transitioned into feature films, and I was lucky enough to be on an early iteration of Rain Man. I didn't stay with that project. Then we went on and I did When Harry Met Sally, A Few Good Men, Boys in the Hood, What's Love Got to Do with It, in addition to some smaller films. Then I had started a family, and it was just too challenging to be on the road for months at a time with a film crew, even with a nanny in tow. It just was too much on my daughter, too much on me. So I wanted to settle down. And I was so fortunate to find a position with the media department at Walt Disney Imagineering. And I was there for over 27 years before COVID caused my project to be shut down, and I decided to take early retirement.
Was writing something you always had in mind as your career went along in Hollywood?
I have always loved writing, and I've always been a voracious reader. I have so many notebooks that I've filled over the years, but I never had the courage to think of myself as an actual writer. I just used it as something that gave me pleasure. When I joined Disney, they had a writing group, which anyone was allowed to join. So I joined, and I am still part of that writers group after 27 years. There I worked on my skills, we shared, we gave each other feedback. Then I also attended some writing conferences like at Aspen Words, which were invaluable. So even while it was never my job, it was always something that was my passion and my love. It gave me a break from the stress of production often.
What about your production background what is it about your production background that may have informed this book? What did you learn along the way about the human experience?
Well, that anything worth doing is worth fighting for. It's not an easy career, so you have to be dedicated and passionate and persistent. And I wanted to show those characteristics in Charlie. He was certainly persistent and tenacious, and he didn't give up. There are many opportunities when he could have just walked away and said, it's all too hard, but he didn't. And also, I made him an artist because over the course of all the films I've worked on, I have interacted with so many amazing artists, scenic artists who have done background plates or background psychs. And I just thought they were amazing what they were able to do. So I gave Charlie that skill.
And how did you come up with this title, Away with Words?
Well, I wanted something that was a little not straightforward, something that made people pause and like, wait a minute, away, away or away? And as somebody who is dyslexic and has issues with words, those are his nemesis. So he would want to make them go away. So it was both the elimination of words is what would be his goal, but also that you can be taken away with words. They can take you somewhere. You can travel, you can explore with words. So there's another levels of how you can read the title. I wanted to include something like that rather than something straightforward like The Adventures of Charlie.
What are you hoping that readers will take away? What are some of the things?
I really hope that they see that you need to really take time to understand what people are going through and understand that everybody has some issues and you need to be patient with each other. You need to give somebody the space to be who they need to be, to take the time that they need to take. We have expectations of what people can do based on our own abilities, and we impose those expectations on people based on that. And it's not fair to many people. And I think that we are a little bit too quick to judgment about people. And I want people to think about that and try and be a little bit kinder, a little bit more sensitive.
And where can people purchase this book?
Well, of course, like almost everything nowadays, it is available on Amazon. I also have a website where I included a link both to Amazon and to Archway Publishing the company that I used to self-publish the book. So you can buy it directly from the publisher if you like. No price difference, but I know some people are not fans of Amazon. I understand that. Sadly, because it is self-published, it is not on the shelves in bookstores, but bookstores can order it for you. So if you have a relationship, someone has a relationship with a local independent bookstore, which I wholly support, you can ask them to order the book for you. And that way you are still supporting that local bookstore. And my website, should I give it to you now? Or? Sure. It's my name. So it's www.lindafolsom.com.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your work of art with us and taking the time to tell us more about it.
Well, I so appreciate the opportunity to share my story and my book with you and your viewers.
Yes, and thank you for joining us for this edition of American Stories. I'm Saida Pagan.